welcome back to my YouTube channel, where it's all about parenting our teenagers and how you can raise a healthy teenager to become a young adult who is resilient and emotionally healthy, who doesn't overly depend on you for everything because you did a great job during this adolescent period. This week, we are going to look at how you can be a factor in raising a socially healthy young teenager and young adult. So it's all about social well-being. Even as we continue, I would like to ask us to subscribe so that more parents can be reached with this information. So social health well-being is all about raising our teenager to have healthy relationships in the home and outside the home, how they view others. And as we looked at last week, we looked at the psychological well-being, where mostly it's how they view themselves, and how they view themselves also plays a role in how they will view others and how they will relate with them. And so we see it's first an internal work, because before now we go to external situation. And did you know that you as a parent are the greatest factor that will help your children or your teenager to have a healthy social life? Yes, indeed. Society has told that it is when they interact with their peers. But when you look at it deeply, yes, it's okay to interact with their peers. But generally, they learn how to engage in conversations, to have meaningful conversation, and to respect others first in the home. So if you can hack in the home, then outside there, they will be able to do it in a healthy way. Even as we look at what you can do to help in this process, first I'd like us to look at the problems that maybe our teenagers are having in this area of social well-being. First, they have a lot of peer pressure coming in that is leading to risky behaviors, because they want to be accepted, and because us as parents, we are not there so that they may feel accepted and involved. So they end up looking for other people out there, their peers, for acceptance, and they are ready to do almost anything for them to be accepted. And so even as we look along, as we go along here, one of the ways you can counter as a parent is to have your home as a place where they feel accepted and wanted and loved and appreciated for who they are, because that is why they really go out there to their peers and are willing to please them no matter what. The second problem that the challenge they're having is the difficulty forming deep, authentic relationships and friendships, because we have seen even what the online life has done. It's causing just relationship to be superficial. We even have phrases like friends with benefit, or how can this friend help me, and it's not really about being together with an individual and sticking with them through the challenges they are going through. And also we are in a toxic society where we are cutting off and toxic friends and all that. So they are having difficulty to form these deep relationships because they are changing friends left, right, center. And when you listen to the reasons, it's something that really they could have been able to forgive that friend and they move on. They're also struggling with a lot of bullying, there's exclusion in groups or even online. Even now, the exclusion that we are having, this clique of ours, we have this group we formed and we are discussing issues, then they go to school and then they realize people were discussing something in their online group and they were not invited for that into that chat room. That affects them quite a bit. And even in terms of bullying, both physically and online, right now we are seeing the bullying is so much. Like for us as parents, you were bullied in school. When you went home, it was safe because you didn't have gadgets. But now the gadgets are with them full time. So if they're undergoing cyberbullying, it is constantly there. And yet as parents, we still have them just continue to having the phone. And then lastly, we have the over-resilience on social media for over-reliance of social media for connection. And it is really high right now, whereby we have even young people who say they'd rather have 1 million followers than 10 good friends. There's an organization that actually did that poll, and they found that teenagers of this day and age would rather have that minimal friends but have followers online. Yet they do not realize that these are just followers who are really not there for them, as opposed to spending time to form meaningful relationships in person. So these are the challenges that these teenagers are happening that is affecting their social well-being. But then, before we look at the solution, how are we as parents contributing to this challenge that they're having in their social well-being? One, we are being overprotective and restricting friendships, because now we have become so, we are afraid of what is out there physically, yet sometimes we do not even consider that even what is there online is even more frightening, but yet they have the phone and the freedom to have various friends online, but yet we are really overprotecting them, and we really do not want to allow them to go outside and maybe make a mistake here and there. And I understand there are those heavy and weighty mistakes we do not want them to make. Yes, I understand that. But allowing them to go out there and try out various friends that they have. And how we are limiting them is by giving them even these gadgets that they have, so that now they have a gadget that keeps them busy, that they have no time or limited time to go outside and feel uncomfortable looking for a friend, of which in that discomfort they're able to learn social skills that will help them. And then the second bit will be us ignoring the influence of social media. Please, indeed, as parents, we are really looking at it at a really, for lack of a better word, a superficial way, how social media is influencing them. Because if we really knew, if we really understood how negatively it is affecting them, we would not be giving our children phones as early as 8 years, 12, 13, even 13 years. We would really try and really delay giving them a phone until later in life. We see like Australia and some other countries is up to 16 years. That's when they're allowed. A parent is allowed to give a teenager a phone. So us not realizing how it's affecting them, as they spend time online, they do not gain the social skills they need in relating with people outside, because online they have a variety of options to choose them. Is this person doesn't please me, I can go and friends request someone else and they will say everything that I like to say, or I will follow specific people who do not make me uncomfortable, which is okay. But in part of us growing socially, it is us going there and being around people and feeling that discomfort of being new, the discomfort of sometimes not fitting and finding a way of fitting in a healthy. That is how we grew up socially, and to have healthy social relationship, and now learning what to say, what to not to say, how to act. But because our teenagers are spending so much time online, these skills they are not able to learn now. In young adulthood and even later in adulthood, they struggle. They are really struggling in relationships at work or even outside work, and then now that's how we now trickle over to them having more mental health issues and substance abuse issues, etc. Then number 3, we have controlling who their friends should be. And it's true, as parents we need to be careful the kind of friends they have, but let us not be nitty picky excessively and choose to the letter the kind of friends they need to have. You can have a discussion around it. You can say that you can have factors that they can, a good friend is a friend who has 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is something you've discussed with them, not something you've listed and you're coming to tell them. A not so good friend, or a quote unquote bad friend, is someone who influences you to do 1, 2, 3, or they are not there for you, blah blah blah. You will be able to sit down and list, and then allow them to go and interact with these friends. And if they're open with you, they will come and share, oh, this friend of mine has done this, this and this, and then you can say, after they finish, you can say, oh, you remember we had said a good friend is like this, and a not so good friend is like that, so where do you think they fall? I'm sure, I'm not sure, maybe here, maybe a bit there. In the process, you're helping them how to form healthy relationships and healthy friendships that will help them later in life and even at that time. But yet what we do as parents, we want to really control and pick. Don't hang out with so and so. Don't go with this and that individual, and even involving the teacher in the entire process. And I am not saying that we shouldn't do that sometimes. There are those serious cases that we need to do that, but not every case is that serious that we cannot allow them to pick that friend for themselves. And then lastly, in how we contribute to the problem is not modeling healthy social interactions at home. As I had said, it is you as a parent who holds the key, the major person who can help your child to have a healthy social interaction, not their peers, not because they have gone to school. If they have that healthy interaction with you at home and with the siblings or the nanny and everyone, if you succeed at that in the home, they will be able to have a healthy social interaction with other people out there. So yes, you need to model, you need to be present. Oh dear, you need to be present and interact with them and show them the healthy way of interacting with others, and not you correcting them all the time so that they feel from the home they just know that so relating with others socially is people correcting you all the time and not having healthy conversations. I hope you get what I mean in that aspect. So generally, those are how and the ways as parents we contribute to the challenge of helping our children develop well socially. Then now let's look at how you can help. You can contribute in helping your teenager to develop and to have a healthy social well-being and social life in the process. And I have touched on it as we were going along. If you noticed, I was going and giving pointers towards that. But here you teach them how to empathize and to respect other people through your family interaction. Not out there, it starts from the home. How are they treating the nanny, their other siblings, and you? Are they empathetic to the struggles they're also going through? Or it's all about me, and what I want. Are they respectful to the nanny? How are you treating the nanny? And are they being respectful for that? Now, if you succeed in interacting with them in such a light in the home and teaching them empathy and respect from the home, most of the time it translates outside. So if you see your teenager is really still not empathizing with others or not understanding other people's solutions, they see someone is suffering but yet it's still all about them, then there could be something in the home that you need to address, or if they're not respectful to other people outside, there could be something they are missing or a lesson you have not taught them in the process by you being present or by you speaking enough or modeling enough for them to see, so that they are able to be empathetic and respectful outside there. Secondly, you need to guide them in setting boundaries with peers. As I had mentioned earlier, like coming and brainstorming. We need to, this week here in this home, we're having a discussion how to choose friends. This is for good friends, this side is not for not so good friends, or for bad friends. Although that phrase I don't really like it that much, but yet we say, and you come down and you brainstorm and you look at it and you break it down and you see, okay, wow, 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then after that you say, so who are willing to volunteer and say the kind of friends they have, where do they fall, and how is it? And even for you can give examples from history, how you have interacted with people and how various people have influenced you either positively or negatively. And even you can use that, instead of saying good versus bad friend, we can say a positive who influences you positively and someone else who influences you negatively. Where do they lie? So that they don't go out saying that is a bad friend. We do not want to have such a scenario with another parent. But even now, you helping them to set that boundary will help in that process. And then we can encourage participation in group activities. You need to help them and here we are doing a good job because we are taking them to clubs and to sports and even to church, and the religious spaces that we have, whereby they're able to interact with others. But then we need to be careful. How are they interacting? Are we saving them all the time? Are we giving them giving the adults who are taking care of them, there are so many instructions that they cannot freely interact with them in a healthy way, For example, here, like for example in school, you can really be overly protective of your teenager that teachers are even afraid to interact with them or to even correct them, or even to have a conversation, because they don't know what they will go and say to the parent, and then the parent will see something that is not really there. I don't know. I'm hoping you get what I am driving at. So even as we encourage participation outside there, let us also not go and become a helicopter parent where we also want to control completely how the other people around there interact with them. And we are not saying that we should not be careful, the kind of people, so that we do not want, quote unquote, the traumas and the abuse that other people can cause. We are not saying that you're not careful about that, but you need to see how far you're going to you trying to control even the interaction that your teenager has outside the home. And then the other point is you talk openly about your peer pressure and role play healthy responses. I know, and that aspect of role playing usually works well with the younger kids. But even here, if you are a parent with a kind of free relationship with your teenager, you can actually role play. Yeah, assume I am that, that boy or that girl who's bullying you. How are you going to talk to them? I'm standing here, and and it can be serious, and eventually it's just going to be funny as you role play that aspect of how they can look them in the eye and tell them, and tell them that not to do that to you, that you're not afraid of something. How you can role play that, and how you can talk openly about this aspect of peer pressure and bullying, and what they would like you to do about it, and not to take matters in your hands and go and try and solve that solution, and offer that solution. And lastly, you have to balance online and offline social opportunities. And for me, I would say, please try and increase the offline interactions, because especially if you've given your teenager a phone, please limit the amount of time they spend online. And I'm not saying it's even because of the negative things they will find out there, like pornography or anything. No, it is because it's taking their time that they can be out there socializing and learning human skills that we are concerned about. It is the that even when they stop using the phone, they go out with anxieties, waiting for that someone to respond to that message, and wondering if people will accept that message and what they will think about it, and also wondering the number of messages they have to respond to. And these are things that I encounter in the therapy room. You find a teenager is so stressed that I have all these friends that I need to respond to. If I don't respond, they would think I don't like them or love them. So, and I'm sitting there and wondering, they are stressed because of social followers who really do not really care that much, or they will not be there for them, as opposed to going out there and interacting with the real world and feeling the fresh air, and building their brain cells and brain muscles, quote unquote. But they're there online, just chances are high having more pressures coming on. And I'm sure we understand, even for us as adults, because those are the pressures we experience while we're online. So I would really vote for you guys, giving them more offline experiences. They will not like it at first, but eventually they will warm up to it. And so that is it for today on how you can help your teenager to have a healthy social life. And next time we're going to look at how you can help them to become emotionally healthy. We're going to look at their emotional well-being. And even as I finish this, if you want more details on how to understand your teenager and how they are changing, please get my book. It's called What's Going On in Your Teenager's Head. And it goes down to explaining all this, and I have an entire chapter on social changes that you will see in your teenager as they grow. And I have mentioned some of them here, but I go into details there, and step-by-step guidance on how you can interact with them in that journey of their social development. Otherwise, that is it for this week. See you next time, and remember to subscribe.